Ghana and Africa must industrialize. To do that, we need to have the enabling environment. We need to make sure we have in place all the infrastructure that will be needed. The most important of these is the provision of power. The governments of the various African countries seem to be putting in the necessary framework. Ghana has encouraged the private participation in the power sector, but that has been in the generation sector. We need to move on to the distribution, the transmission sector as well. The governments don't have the money to invest in these things, and they have to allow the private sector to do that investment. The other aspects that need to be provided, if you look at provision of water in Africa, is less than 20% for drinking water. For sanitation, it's even worse. Then you've got the provision of fast internet access that will be needed for industry. Anything that supports that creation of the bigger regional market is very necessary for the development of the industrial sector in the country. If you take the African market one at a time, the markets are not big enough to drive industrialization. We need to integrate to make use of the various raw materials so we can be competitive. The African Continental Free Trade Act is excellent because it forces countries to take decisions. I'm excited about it, especially for a company that wants to be African-wide in 5-10 years' time. For regional integration, transport is crucial. I think we should develop other forms of transport which are more environmentally friendly, which are cheaper, like the rail, like the waterway transport. We have to train our youth. The world is advancing at such a fast rate with the fourth industrialization revolution coming on. We're building 6 STEM schools in Ghana distributed around the country. The STEM schools would focus on artificial intelligence, 3D printing, cloud computing, cybersecurity. Once we have them, we need to create the jobs for the youth. We're doing this by building technology parks. If we don't look at ESG goals now, we will pay a price for that in future. So it's very important that at the start of any business venture, we bear in mind the social and environmental goals that have been set. Renewable power generation is crucial. If it's done to scale, renewable energy can be cheaper than power produced from these sources we have now. If you take the case of our Tema Free Zone Enclave, we're building 16 megawatt solar farm on one of our warehouses. This will generate power for just 2 of the companies, and it provides 10% of our power needs. The cost of power from the solar farm is cheaper than what we buy from the national power generator. Power supply is more assured because it's in the enclave. It's greener. Companies buying it can go back for the carbon credit. It gives us the environmental badge. There is a lot of migration from the rural areas to the urban areas, and this must be planned properly. One way of doing it is to develop smart cities where we look at technology to make living easier, to make the provision of leisure, traveling to work and all of that much simpler. In the smart cities, we're not just talking about expensive high-end areas. We are fast growing area and population-wise. We need to provide affordable housing. One of the things that LMI is doing in Ghana is to provide 2,000 affordable homes a year at our our smart city. We want to replicate this in the West African sub-region to start off with, and then look at Africa in general. It's critical that we don't just look at industrialization, we look at also providing certain incentives, certain amenities for the people that are going to make the industrialization a success.